Well, and listen, you better than anybody know that if well, I know that people say that furniture is a 9 letter F word.
Mhm.
But I will also say that I think oftentimes BD is a 4 letter word, right? I think we can agree that there's several of us that think of it that way, especially on the technical side, which is interesting. So we have learned that because we are all business developers, internally or externally, um, but we have learned with our technical team, which is the foundation, the spinal cord of our business, we don't talk about business development. We talk about building relationships.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Real relationships, real leaders, real stories. Welcome to the Authenticity Project. Hello, friends. This is Dawn Landry. Welcome to the Authenticity Project. As you know, I believe business development is part art, part science, and we're going to talk a little bit about both today. We're specifically going to get really real about business development. In my opinion, technical service businesses require the technician. They require the doer seller. But oftentimes doer sellers don't really want to do business development. And no one is here to talk more about it than my friend and lovely client from the past, Dianne Murata. Dianne, you were actually Authenticity's first client. So I like 9.5 years ago. I am so grateful for that. And we've stayed friends all this time. So Dianne, welcome to the Authenticity Project. I'd love for you to do a quick introduction of yourself.
Sure. First, can I just say I love the title that this is the Authenticity Project because I think of myself and I would expect most other leaders are similar. Like I'm just a project. I'm a work in progress. So I am the chief furniture nerd at Kimiko Designs. We are a boutique interior design firm and we specialize in all things furniture, but we don't sell furniture. So it's basically like an interior design firm that knows how to do, we know how to furniture really, really, really well. I started my life in the industry. I had a choice between when I first moved to the United States, I had a choice between working at an interior design firm that specialized in funeral homes, or I could go work at a furniture dealership. And believe it or not, furniture was the lesser of those two evils. So I've been a furniture nerd ever since then. I've been a furniture nerd now for 26, almost 27 years. The firm that I run, we specialize in obviously furniture, but project management, specification, planning. And over the last 5 years, since I've had the privilege of getting to know you, I've also become apparently the industry's accidental environmentalist because I also help our clients and other facility owners and managers figure out how to divert their furniture from the landfill, and that is a great reason to get out of bed in the morning.
Kimiko Green.
And it's called Kimiko Green. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you. Yeah.
So let's just talk a little bit like in all that you've done and the surprises that you've had in having your business. What has been the biggest surprise specifically related to client relationships?
I think, Dawn, one of the things that I do and I learned from you, I know this is probably going to sound canned, but it is absolutely not because I can feel this in my gut. I just have to be me.
Mm,
So I don't, there was a shift early on in my career, early on in my leadership development, where I thought that there was a certain image of leadership, a certain image of sales, business development that did not feel good to me. So I avoided it. And when I started to really look at myself and look at what I wanted from the company and how important it was to grow, I also recognized it was really important to grow in a way that was really true to myself. And so building relationships and meeting people where they're at and working one-on-one and building relationships and friendships seems to be the key for me that led and leads to business development. But I really had to figure that out about myself first.
mhm. So your initial thought about business development and the people who do business development was
Nope. I mean, and I come from my
Thanks for
dad
being
was a
true.
sales.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Listen, my dad was a salesperson, and he was a manufacturer's rep, traveling sales kind of person. And not that my dad was ew, but I had this image of how how it worked. And then when I first got into the furniture industry, which is a $22 billion sales driven industry, I saw a lot of activities, behaviors, personalities, styles that didn't match with who I know to be and who I wanted to be. And so, yeah, so initially, you was was how I really felt about sales and business development.
What changed your mind? Or is your mind changed?
Okay, yes, let's get that clear first. Absolutely, my mind has changed. And what that is, I think, over the years, I got to learn and observe and watch other people like you, like our friend Kim, like other really strong, successful leaders who find a way to do business development and grow relationships in a way that's really true to themselves. And for some people, aggressive sales that may work for them. It just doesn't work for me. And so I've been able to watch and I pay attention to the modeling that's happening around me. And okay, and then I think about, what makes them successful? Oh, why are they one of the largest account managers in the industry? Oh, why do they have a book of business like nobody else does? Okay, how do I model that? How do I take bits and pieces of that, things that feel right to me, things that feel true to me, and how do I incorporate that into how I grow relationships and business?
Nice. What's the part of business development that you still won't do?
Pressure sales. I won't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I won't do that. And also, by the way, nobody should be doing that.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I think that pressure sales is really what gives everybody a really bad
It
reputation.
does.
But also, that's really short-sighted, don't you think, Dawn? I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I think pressure sales is like there's this little thing that needs to happen right now. And I don't believe it does. I believe that when we're doing what's right for the client, I believe that when we are also truly standing in the belief that what we have to offer and what we do is really valuable.
Mm-hmm.
And when you combine those two things, I think that that makes a really huge difference.
Yeah. So, what has worked the best for selling specifically related to Kimiko?
I will, so I two things
I'll
come
tell
to
you, you
mind.
tell me your answer and I'll tell you what
Oh,
my
okay, you
answer
go
is.
first. Yeah,
No,
you
no,
go
no. I
first.
want you to go first.
No. I mean, I had to put, I first, the first of the two is I just had to put myself out there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm.
acknowledging that I think there's only maybe one or two other firms in the entire country that do what we do, right? So specializing in furniture planning, furniture project management, furniture specification. So the concept of hiring a furniture planner, of hiring a project manager just for furniture was a new idea. And so you can't help anyone if they don't know that you exist or they don't even know that the service you provide exists.
Mhm.
So, and some of this, frankly, was the gift of COVID.
Mhm.
So when 90% of our business dried up overnight in that 4 week period of time, as did happen for lots of people. And then when I recognized that we still all had families to feed, I had to be willing to be uncomfortable. I had to be, which was what drove the decision to get out there and talk about what we do, talk about how we change lives with furniture. Who knew that you could do that? We would talk about how we help our clients sleep better at night. They don't have to worry about it. They know that we're taking care of it. But I had to be willing to be really uncomfortable, do things I didn't really want to do, which really in that instance was all about public speaking. And I had to, what did they say? Feel the fear and
Mm.
do it anyway.
Mhm.
So when I made the decision over during COVID to talk to anybody who would listen, to ask a lot of questions, and then listen to the answers. That was a really big game changer for me. The second one, which is more, I still am trying to understand it and figure it out. But when we started digging into the circularity and sustainability component of what we do, that was also, oh my goodness, so uncomfortable. But continuing to follow the breadcrumbs, continuing to do what was right for our clients, continuing to listen to their questions, which was, at the time, what was happening was we saw this pattern in clients asking about landfill diversion. Hey, Dianne, thanks for helping us with this new project, but also we have these 150 workstations and offices that we don't want to throw them in the landfill. What do we do about that? And so I would say Kimiko Green, which then sort of at the time, well, it still is very much driven around education and awareness about circularity and sustainability in the commercial furniture industry, which, by the way, under current estimates, no, not under current estimates. These are estimates, the most recent estimates that we have from the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, is from 2018, 2019, and it's that 17 billion pounds of office furniture and equipment go to the landfill every year. Well, you can't.
Terrible. Yeah, it's terrible.
You can't. You're right. When I learned about that statistic and that information, you can't not do something about it. So this is a really long answer back to your question, which was I had to take a risk in looking at the problems that our clients were having, which was the landfill diversion. But I had to really take a risk because there was all sorts of non-billable time and research and putting things together to then figure out how to help our clients in this way, which sort of turned into a bit of a marketing initiative, which turned into, so education turned into marketing, which turned into these crazy opportunities to get out there and talk more and educate more. But that was probably the most, I call it the best marketing campaign in the history, certainly of Kimiko Designs. I don't know if ever of all time, but it's the best marketing campaign that was never intended to be a marketing campaign in the first place. And the results of that, the results of doing the work, we get to speak, our whole team gets to speak nationally at conferences. I recently got to do a TEDx talk in Houston. I get to do interviews for podcasts and media and newspapers, blogs. It's been pretty fantastic.
Yeah. And the platform, in terms of working with corporations, you always had a great client base, but it just really amped up and leveled up in a quite a big way.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me of that. I mean, I think so. In the 4 years that that I have been leading and we have been working on Kimiko Green, I would say, so let's see, I've been in the industry 26 years. I'm about to do girl math, so stick with me. But so I had a really, really good network leading into COVID. I had a good network.
Mhm.
But in the 4 years, 5 years since COVID and doing the work with Kimiko Green, I bet you I have 20x'd my network. And 20x, I'm not talking about the parents that I run into at school pickup. I'm talking about, national, global organizations who have seen our work, who've downloaded our playbooks, which are free, by the way, playbooks for sustainable decommissioning.
We can put the link down below.
Okay, yeah. Please, yeah. Free resources for everybody and anybody, including my mom. My mom's downloaded it 3 times. So, but now, and not only do we get to have this incredible impact that feels good as a mom, but also now we literally have a seat at the table with Fortune 500, Fortune 10, Fortune 1000 companies, and they come knocking on our door. I've had Fortune 50 company hit my inbox, my generic inbox.
Mhm.
I think it's because of the really great work that our team is doing.
Yes. So
Yeah.
you want my answer?
Yeah. So what were you going to say?
So I happen to know your Clifton strengths. So that's the advantage that I have. So when I think of Kimiko, I think of Dianne, but I also think of Dianne in a futuristic standpoint and an innovation standpoint.
Mm,
And I think of you, you were the very first person that I knew that had a company that was virtual. You were virtual
yeah.
before it was even cool. And I
Yeah.
want you to talk a little bit about that because you created this wonderful network of these professionals that are able to work from home and have the balance of being able to be there for their families, whatever that looks like. Wait, 26 years ago, 20, almost 27 years ago,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
In that kind of way. And so when the futuristic and the innovation aspect, Kimiko Green aspect. And I think that
Mm,
once you got wrapped your brain around it, because you oftentimes, and as a friend, I can say this, talked yourself out of business development, talked yourself out of wanting to put yourself out there. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm an introvert, Dawn. I don't want to do it. And then we would just
yeah.
jump
Yeah.
in and do it. And what you have accomplished is pretty incredible, Dianne. And by the way, no one watching this will believe that you're not a public speaker because you are a fantastic public speaker. And I know that took a lot of work.
Still does.
Mm,
Still does take a lot of work.
mhm.
Yeah, there's a lot of GI activity that happens when public speaking is involved, even getting onto a podcast with somebody
Mm.
who I know and love.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of extra activity in my stomach that happens, and you can't help anybody if they don't know you exist.
Exactly.
So I can go around and knock on doors one at a time, or I can speak to a room full of Construction Owners Association of America. I can
Mm.
speak um, I can speak to the entire industry at once through neocon CEUs and yeah. And thank you for reminding me that what I did I would have told you that what I did and the decision to create a virtual company was solely selfish at the time. But I also can recognize now, there's 35 of us on our team, and daily I get feedback that the quality of their lives is better than they ever could have imagined because of the flexibility that we provide in the organization. And when I was putting together some thoughts this weekend on my laptop, and I happen to be in the Cayman Islands right now.
Mm.
Feel free to feel sorry for me. I used to live here, so I still have good friends here. And that's why I'm here. But I was putting together some just sort of brain dump thoughts, and it occurred to me that in this last year, I have worked remotely. So we're entirely work from the term work from home. Oh, I started using the term work from anywhere but home
Mm.
because I love, and I know you do, I love to travel. And so I have in this past year worked from at early count 12 different countries.
Oh, wow. And we're
Yeah.
still
Now,
sitting here in August.
well, I'm in the last 12 months.
Hmm.
And of course, two of them were, from getting stranded in the Middle East. So those were not on purpose. There was two of
And,
them and they
and
were
that's a story for
accidental.
another time. We can come back and just talk about that by itself. Whew,
Yes.
what a journey.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
want to talk, I mean, you want to talk about problem solving and leadership, not just under pressure, but in a crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was not easy, but here we are. And back to, I understand why the industry, and I see the industry, not just furniture, but in the corporate world, I understand and I'm grateful for the switch to hybrid work,
Mm-hmm.
so that I'm not the only one. Our team aren't the only ones that get to experience the benefit of doing doing the work that you love,
Uh-huh.
and being able to also support your family. I mean, not having to choose between work and family or work and personal life is, I think is a gift
Yep.
that everyone should have. It shouldn't actually be a gift. It should just be a given.
It should be a gift. Yeah. Well, and the thing is too that I've found is that sometimes it becomes like the great gifts of the pieces of our work become so commonplace to us that sometimes we forget how really special they are. This was happening to me a couple weeks ago. I had this great opportunity with this great client. I was going to be in their office. It was a big lift, right? I was going to be solid in their office Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So that Sunday, I started like playing it in my head of like, oh, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of this. It's a lot of that. And then I had to stop myself and say, no, that like 10 years ago, you would have been like this would have been like a highlight for several months of you have to like reprioritize and give the perspective of like what you would, this is what you dreamed about and you're living it right.
Mm,
Really? So
yeah.
what's been the
Yeah.
biggest aha moment specifically related to even the last 5 years for you with Kimiko? That one
Okay. I
lesson
mean,
learned. Mm-hmm.
gosh, I hate to say you can do hard things. So, okay, there is years ago when I first moved to Texas, and so maybe the company was only 3, 4 years old at the time. And one of the clients that I was working for gave me a paperweight, and it says, because it literally still sits on my desk under my monitor today. It says, "What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail?"
Mm.
And in the last 5 years, I'm not saying that I even remotely knew that I couldn't fail, but not trying was not an option.
Mm.
And so I don't know how much of that has to just how much of that has to do with being okay with being uncomfortable
Mhm.
and trying it anyway, right? Like, and just stretching a little bit, stretching a little bit, stretching a little bit. And it's incredible in well, okay, so 5 years, that's right. So in 5 years, in 2 years, my life is completely different than I had expected it would be. I am a completely different leader than I had expected to be. I'm a completely different woman
Mm.
than I had. If you had told me that I would be on Dawn Landry's podcast, working oceanside while still getting paid and doing meetings and doing my job and having an impact. And literally, we're talking to my team this morning about it. Like literally, we are going to leave the planet better than when we first got here. And like,
Mm.
I get, we
Yep.
did that. We
Yep.
did that. I'm doing that.
You are. So what
Mhm.
do you dream
Incredible.
next after all of this?
Oh boy. I mean, I don't know. Do you have any ideas? I the I'm not gonna I do also I've been thinking about this and talking about this lately too. And I say lately, the last 6, 12 months. I think it's really important to like I've had my foot on the gas and not that I'm hitting the brakes, but I also think that there's really important time in between where you get to enjoy, to think about what's next. And this is, I know because you and I talk about it all the time. Sometimes my futuristic gets in the way of being right here, right now.
Mhm.
So what comes next, I think, is taking some time to really be here, right now, enjoy where I'm at, enjoy continuing to have an impact with Kimiko Green, enjoy stretching myself. I'm working on, between you and me and the thousands of people that will probably listen to this, I am working on asking for business. I
Mm.
am really comfortable now, sort of being in the pond, being right. I'm swimming around, I'm doing my thing, I'm here, people see me. But there's still a piece I think, in terms of asking for business
Mhm.
that I'm working on what does that mean to me? What does that look like to me? How does that feel good to me? How do I do that in a way that's impactful,
Yep.
but yet still very uniquely Dianne?
That's awesome. So let's put a pin in that because I do want to come back to that real quick, but I'd like for you to give our audience just a quick update in terms of because at the very beginning you talked about part of the Kimiko process in the sales process was even creating awareness about the need for, like, you created a business and there was like, before everyone even knew that they needed the need. So what exactly needed the need? Is that a thing? But anyway, so had the need.
Yeah, needed the
So
thing.
needed the thing, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
where's the evolution of that as you see it? Like, is there still potential and headroom for even that awareness?
So much potential, so much headroom. And some of that is, so we've only recently hired a full-time business development person, which, just for the record, I wish I had done 5 years ago. So for anybody out there listening, if you don't have one, I would say that's my number one thing that I wish I had done differently.
Hmm.
But I think I've seen this evolution. So with our specification services, with our highly, highly technical furniture nerds, there's a pattern of adoption that comes with new concepts, new services. And so now I see that furniture planning, furniture project management is following the same path. So the evolution really just looks like getting out there, making sure people understand the problems we solve, making sure that we are listening. Gosh, Dawn, I think one of the things I learned from you by watching is the incredible power of listening more and talking less.
Mm.
I think I think that we all, if there was one thing that we could do as leaders, as business developers, that we could do better, it would be listening. But I think continuing to help people understand the problems we solve, and we've been really working on how to message that, how to be really succinct, because to understand what we do and the problems we solve is really different if you are a commercial real estate leader, and it's very different if you are a facility owner or a manager, and it's very different if you are if you're an architect or designer. And so for us, I am really working on figuring out how to message that really differently. And I still, continue to try to figure out how to inspire other people to be more circular, sustainable, environmental in their thinking and their everyday operations practices.
Awesome. So, like I said, I wanted to come back to business development, but you brought us back into business development,
Okay.
and so which is great. So, the whole
Yeah.
reason why I created this podcast is to hear the perspectives and to hear the transparency and the evolution of people's stories, especially technical doer sellers like yourself, in terms of how did you wrap your brain around business development. And the other purpose of this podcast also is to really help to educate, in my opinion, business development is a lost art, and it is an art and a science. And so, in your opinion, like, if you could, like, really emphasize art and science, which aspect of business development are you best at? Do you influence, or do you hone in on them, or, emphasize the most, and how do you do it?
Okay. This was my thinking face, just so you know.
Mhm.
But I I wonder if it is part art, part science, and part personality.
Okay.
And I would say for me, it is more art than it is science, but you can't have one without the other. You can't just, I would tell you, I'm a very intuitive leader. I'm a very intuitive business developer, like what feels good, what makes sense. But you still have to have on the other side, you have to look at the data. Even if it's as simple as looking at, hang on, the last 5 years, where have we been most successful? Whether it's looking is
Yep.
that the market? Is it healthcare? Is it higher ed?
It's the strategy.
Okay, yeah. And
Science
that's
is the
another one of
strategy. Yeah.
that's my Clifton strengths, right? That right. So futuristic and strategic, those are can they be my love languages? But also I think maybe the art goes with that personality. So there's the art to me, there's
Mhm.
creativity,
Yep.
right? There is an element of even with artists, right? Like you're putting a piece of you out there in the world. And that can feel really vulnerable. I think that can feel really uncomfortable. And listen, you better than anybody know that if well, I know that people say that furniture is a 9 letter F word.
Mhm.
But I will also say that I think oftentimes BD is a 4 letter word, right? I think we can agree that there's several of us that think of it that way, especially on the technical side, which is interesting. So we have learned that because we are all business developers, internally or externally, um, but we have learned with our technical team, which is the foundation, the spinal cord of our business, we don't talk about business development. We talk about building relationships.
Mhm. Yep.
Mm, And
And that's
that
what it is.
seems,
Mhm.
mhm.
Drop
But
the mic. There you go.
that seems to be the piece that really connects with our technical team because they understand that. That doesn't feel icky.
Icky, artificial, salesy, because when most people think of, they think of the used car salesman. They think of like
Or the
slang.
used furniture salesman,
Mm.
right?
Hmm. Well, and the
Hmm.
thing that I always say is like, think about how you like to be sold to. We sell in the way we like to be sold to. And I don't know a single person out there that wants to receive icky sales.
No. And you know what else that I guess that makes a lot of sense, Dawn, because I tie it back to I want to buy and or work with people who I like, know, and trust.
Exactly. Yep.
And I think that for me getting out there and doing public speaking, doing those silly videos that I sometimes have to absolutely force myself to do. But that's what allows an entire country of people or an entire industry of other furniture people or facilities or commercial real estate people get to know me, get to know us. But it requires some vulnerability. It requires what is Brene Brown talks about the shitty first draft.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yep.
there has to be a shitty first draft of a video or a shitty first draft of a podcast, which is, I mean, you've been doing video and podcasting before anybody too. You were so early on that. But it,
And those first ones, I wanted to cringe. I still cringe. I'm like, oh, don't watch that. But
but
yeah,
how
that's
many
the only
times,
way. Yeah,
how many times has business come to you because of somebody who has seen those and they feel like they know, like, and trust you?
it's absolutely true. Diane, thank you so much. We could talk for another hour and a half. And so, with your
And we
permission,
do sometimes.
and we do. And so,
Oh,
I'm going to bring you back. We're going to get you back in, and we'll talk about your TED Talk. Maybe not about the preparation for TED Talk, because Diane said that that's going to take a little bit of alcohol to talk about that. It was a hard one, right? It was a hard birth.
yeah, I would say next to getting a divorce these last few years, um,
Mm.
and getting stranded in the Middle East during a conflict, it's right up there with yeah, it was really one of the hardest things I've ever done.
Yeah,
Also, so proud,
yeah.
so
So
proud.
so proud of you. So yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get you back. Talk about it. Thanks,
Okay.
Diane.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
I'd
so
love
much. I
to.
appreciate it. Enjoy the Caymans.
I will. You see the dog started barking at me. It's time to go.
Okay. The Authenticity Project. Real leaders, real relationships, real stories. Join us for the next BD conversation coming soon.